Welcome to this next dream course, and we're going to look at two more dreams of Joseph, the father of Jesus. This is found in Matthew 2. These are not symbolic dreams, they're actually just messages delivered through a dream from the Lord. And so we're not going to talk about any symbolism, but we're actually going to look at three powerful principles of God and ways of God that we can learn from in these two dreams. I'm going to read you the dreams out of Matthew 2, starting in verse 19. They're very short, and then we're going to talk about these three principles together. Verse 19 says, "After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, 'Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who are trying to take the child's life are dead.' So he got up. He took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he had heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Having been warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee, and he went and lived in a town called Nazareth. So was fulfilled what was said through the prophets, that he," speaking of Messiah, Jesus, "would be called a Nazarene." And so the three principles I want to look at in these two dreams that were given to Joseph are, first, the timing of God is for our good and our protection. And we see this through how first the Lord directed Joseph to take Mary and Jesus into Egypt to be hidden and sheltered for a time. And then in his perfect timing, Joseph receives another dream saying, okay, it's safe to go back now. And sometimes we don't understand the timing of the Lord, but we just have to obey, just like Joseph did. When he gives us a dream or he gives us a directive like this, we just obey, even if a lot of time passes before we understand anything, or before we even see when we get to see a promise, or when we get to see a change or a breakthrough. The timing of the Lord, though it's clouded to us and it doesn't make sense to us, is perfect, and it is for our protection. And we need to see that when we look at the life of Joseph and how he just obeys these warnings. He obeys the warnings and messages in these dreams without any clarity on when he would get to go back to his homeland, on when he would get to see a change and get to see the oppressor dealt with, but he obeys. And so for us, we take this example and say, Lord, if you give me a direction, I don't have to know the timing. I trust that the timing is in your perfect hands and it is for my good. The next instruction or principle we see from this is that we are to wait for the Lord's next instruction. We're not to run ahead of the Lord. Sometimes when the Lord gives us an instruction, there will be a very clear directive, there will be a long period of time where we hear nothing and we don't get any more instruction, and it almost feels like the Lord has removed his presence or lifted, or he's forgotten about us. And I'm sure that Joseph and Mary struggled with this, living in a dangerous country outside of their homeland, and yet they waited. They didn't run ahead and run back to Israel on their own strength or their own process of thinking, okay, it's probably time now. No, they just waited. And so we see another principle, that when the Lord says, do this, and then he's silent, we wait on him for his next instruction. We don't take things into our own hands. We don't create an Ishmael. We don't try to make sense of something so we can move forward because we're tired of waiting. And so I want to encourage you, if that's you and you're waiting because you've been obedient to the first instruction and now there's nothing, I want to encourage you to wait, standing firm in the last thing that he told you to do. And so I hear the Lord asking us, have you done it? Have you done the first thing he told you to do? Because we don't want to be waiting and causing delay in our own life by not being obedient to what he has told us to do. Our lives will be in danger and outside of the will of God if we don't obey him. So first, have you done the thing he's told you to do? No matter how hard it is, have you obeyed? And if so, wait on him for what to do next. And that is a powerful truth that we learn from Joseph in these dreams. And the last principle that we see in these dreams is that God fulfills his word and protects us, and actually protects our prophecies, the prophetic words that are spoken over our life. He is the one to fulfill those things. All we need to do is obey. And sometimes it seems like a prophecy would never happen, it would never come to pass, or how will this ever even happen? But if we just obey and wait upon the Lord like Joseph did, the Lord himself will fulfill it and actually protect our prophecy. He will keep our prophecy hidden and preserved, and he will make it come to pass by our simple obedience. And we see that the Lord actually, through a second warning dream, warns Joseph to not go into Judea, but actually to go into a more obscure and hidden, a place that maybe people would say is a less than situation, not as nice of a town or an environment, and into obscurity. But that was actually the plan of the Lord to fulfill the prophecy over his son Yeshua's life, that Jesus would be grow up in Nazareth and be a Nazarene. And we see later in Jesus's life, this is something that people actually don't believe in him because of. They believe, well, you came out of Nazareth, what good can come out of Nazareth? So the Lord had a plan to keep Jesus in obscurity and hiddenness, and to grow him up in a place of hiddenness. That was part of what was spoken and decreed over his life, and that was part of why many would reject him who actually didn't want who Jesus was. And so we see this powerful protection of the prophecy of God over Jesus's life through this second warning dream to go into Nazareth, to go into a less than environment than people would choose for themselves. And so if that's you and you're in a situation where the Lord has directed you and led you into a situation that seems hidden or obscure or less than or not what you would pick, trust that it is actually him protecting you and protecting the prophetic promises over your life, and stay in obedience to him no matter what others would say, or no matter if it seems an inconvenient or unlikely situation he has you in. So I bless you with this today. I pray you're encouraged by these principles of the life of Joseph and how he obeyed the dream, he obeyed the message no matter what it seemed like, and he waited upon the Lord for his next instruction. So be blessed today.